Here I am back at the Joseph B. White Cemetery. Behind me you see two monuments. There are more in these woods. I'm here to do a better job of the biographies of the people that are buried here. I've had to use this to get through and probably will have to do some more. Here I am at the gravesite of Miss Sarah Ann Brunson. Her maiden name was Britton. She was born 1830, died 1855. She was 25 years old when she died. Her two children, or two of her children, not her two children, buried right there. And behind me is another one. The children all died when they were babies. I think the oldest one might have lived to be a couple years old. Two of the children died before she did, and one of them actually died, the youngest one died after she did, died just a few months after the mama died. This whole family died young. Dr. Brunson, he died young, even though he died 5 years later than everybody else. And I don't know what killed everybody. I got a feeling though that with Dr. Brunson, he knew that he was about to pass, as he wrote in his will 6 months before his passing, that he was weak in body, sick in body, but strong in mind. And I got a feeling maybe it was tuberculosis consumption. It was widespread at that time. So she died here at this hotel. Well, wait a minute. Well, it's not a hotel here. You'll see a picture of the house after this clip. There was a house here from 1840 to 1965 that Mr. Lucius Pitts Loring lived in. And his wife was the doctor's sister. So Miss Sally died at the house that was here, that was her sister-in-law and brother-in-law's house. The house was actually moved back in 1965 to the farm from where the timbers were cut. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off because there's all kind of traffic. I don't want to hold nobody up. She died in this house, which was built in 1841 and then was moved in 1965 and is sitting on the plantation from the timbers that it was built from, out on Loring Mill Road. So I basically have to put the camera where I can get it. A little tree growing here. If I had a saw, I'd go ahead and cut it down. This says, sacred to the memory of Emily White, daughter of Joseph B. White. Remember, Joseph B. White is who the cemetery is named after, and he is buried here, who died November 1824 at 16 years old. 1824, it might be 1821. 11 months and 20 days old. She left. I can't read that, and I'm not going to dig into all that. I'm just not ready for that. So we have a tombstone here from either 1821 or 1824. So I was going to try to do these graves in some kind of particular order. For instance, Mr. White had 3 wives. 2 of them are buried here. 1 is buried at the Sumter Cemetery. And just trying to crawl around these woods and find the tombstones. And plus it's starting to kind of get dark on me. There's going to be no order to this. I'm just going to, bring them to you as I find them and give you what I know about them. This is the oldest stone right here. That is sacred to the memory of Mrs. Judith White, wife of Joseph B. White, who died the 22nd of April, 1813. That's the oldest stone here at 35 years old and 17 days. Believe that would make 1778 when she was born. It says, blessed are the dead which died in the Lord, yeah, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors. Again, this right here, that is the oldest one from 1813. This is 200, right now that make it about 207 years old. And this busted up stone laying on the ground is a child stone, dedicated memory of Maria Delorme, infant daughter of Will and Mary Ann, looks like Delorme, who died 1831. It's laying on the ground, so I couldn't set up the tripod to get a better picture of this than to do it handheld. I hope this records I'm having to tilt my camera really hard to see this, and when I do that, sometimes it doesn't record correctly. It flips the picture. If your picture is flipped, please be patient. This is the stone of Mr. Joseph Barton White, who the cemetery is named after, and I'll give you a lot more information on him. He was born in 1872, died in 1852 at 80 years old. It has a lot of inscription here. It's very ornate. I can't read that inscription right now with it being as dark as it is, and my eyes aren't the best anyway. Now, some details on Mr. White. Mr. White's dad was actually a Revolutionary War soldier under the swamp fox, and I'm a big fan of the swamp fox. Anybody that can fight in the swamps and deal with gators and snakes and being constantly wet and dealing with mosquitoes, they get my respect. So that tells me that his dad did the same thing. They had huge plantations in Georgetown, and then he moved to Sumter and bought some land here. I don't know how much. I'm guessing it was around 800 acres though. He was one of the founders of First Presbyterian Church downtown. I'm sure there's a plaque or something with his name on it. I don't know if they know that his grave is sitting here unattended in the woods, covered, and that a stone is laying on the ground. For a pillar of the community and a founder of the church, sometimes they just get forgotten. He had 3 wives. I showed you the stone there. The other one was Mrs. Sarah White, who I hope her stone's here that I can find it. I know it's here. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to find it. And then Marion White. Now, Marion White was actually the sister of Sarah White. They were sisters. Marion White was, I think, 25 years younger. And when he died, she had already had a husband prior, so they were both a little bit older when they got married anyway. Him already having 2 wives, and she actually had a husband that had passed away, so she was a widow. Anyway, when she died, she was buried at Sumter Cemetery instead of here. Now here is one I've seen before, but I didn't think to try to get any information on. This was not included in a survey that I got most of my information from. Here lies the remains of Mrs. E.M. Miller, wife of J.J. Miller, who died the 9th of August, 1849. Age 22 years, 6 months, and 16 days. Now, when they have initials like that, it's hard to follow up and do any research. Census reports, newspaper accounts, you really can't find anything. But honestly speaking, I didn't even know to try to find anything on this one. Here's another one I can't make out too good. It looks like he's buried in a family plot, even though it's really tore up and, well, it's just tore up. It looks like it might say Robert Lee, son of Joseph White. The birth looks to me to be either 1830 or 1820 something, and the death looks to be 1851. I can barely make that out, and I cannot make any of that out. And there's 2 stones over there I got to get to. And as far as I know of, that's the last I'm going to be able to find in here. And right beside that one, I found this, covered in leaves. It says, it looks like in memory of Mrs. Mary Weston. I really can't make out the rest of that. And this is another one I don't have in my notes. No Mrs. Mary Weston. We have a Mary Vaughn. That doesn't look anything like a Vaughn. No, that's Weston. Which I haven't found Mary Vaughn yet neither, but I still got a couple more stones I see over there. So these are 3 children's graves in a row, and you know they're children's graves when you have that little lamb on them. First one is Judith Emily Magdalene, daughter of T.W. and H.C. Lee, born on the 29th of December 1853, died July of 1854. Lived to be about 7 months. This over here is in memory of Margaret Miller, daughter of T.W. and H.C. Lee, born July 1848, died I think September 1850. Lived to be roughly a year and a half, close to 2 years. And then this one over here I can't see and I can't get to. It looks like it says in memory of William Nelson White, son of T.W. and H.C. Lee. Can't make out the dates. Maybe like the dove on that. I think that's cute. Anyway, you see how deep these are in the woods. And the funny thing is, there's a busy highway. You probably have heard it. Just a couple 100 feet from here. Well, that's it. That was an adventure, I tell you. It's hard crawling around these woods like this. There's busted up brick, busted up tombstone. There's briars everywhere, which I brought some clippers to cut with. I got a walking stick that I use to kind of knock stuff out the way. It's also good for pinning snakes if I ever come across any. But there were several, well, a handful that I did not find. Mary H. Vaughn was one of them, who was the wife of James. That's what it says on the stone. And died 1852. Born 1822, died 1852. Funny thing about that, I think I know where her stone is. When I was doing the research on this, I found that it was at the Sumter Cemetery. So I don't know if the family moved it out there before it got broke up and tore up. If the body got moved out there, which I doubt. But it was a stone matching the very same thing, Mary H. Vaughn. The dates were the same. And wife of James. So it has to be the Mary H. Vaughn that's not here now. It has to be in the Sumter Cemetery. Couldn't find Andrew H. Buckman, who died in 1848. Now there's one stone that I didn't find that I wanted to make a remark on. Mrs. Robert James Dix. Doesn't tell her name. What kind of garbage load is that? Anyway, sources say that her actual name was Charlotte, and she was the daughter of William and Mary Delorme. Remember, they had some tombstones of some children here. And that was another one I did not find, was William Delorme, who died in 1834, born in 1803, whose children, we've seen their stones. Someone else, I think it was Sarah White. Seems like we missed Sarah White. That was the second wife of Mr. Joseph White. She was the one that I told you, her and her sister both married him, obviously at different times. And that Miss Maria White is buried at Sumter Cemetery. Anyway, this has been a pleasant experience. I've been wanting to come back and do a more thorough follow-up on this and hand it to you. And I hope you enjoyed it. And pay attention to these messages that are coming right after this. It's very important.
Don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe.